My name is Alex, and I'm 27 years old. I recently moved to Denver, Colorado for a new job. I didn't know many people in the city, so when I received an anonymous invitation to a Halloween costume party, I thought it'd be a great way to meet some locals and maybe make a few friends. I hadn't been to a good party in a while, and the excitement of dressing up for Halloween added to the appeal. The invitation had an address, but no name. It seemed strange, but I figured it was just part of the mystery. I spent hours putting together an elaborate costume, a pirate, complete with an eye patch, hat, and fake sword. I thought I'd fit right in. When I arrived at the address, something felt off. The house was dark, run down, and completely isolated. But as I got closer, I could hear faint laughter coming from inside. It wasn't the usual joyful party sounds. It was unsettling. I stood at the door for a moment, wondering if I had the wrong place. But curiosity got the better of me, and I knocked. The door creaked open, revealing a group of masked people. Their costumes were eerie, nothing fun or festive about them. They wore plain, expressionless masks, and I couldn't see their faces. Before I could say anything, they grabbed me, pulling me inside. My heart pounded as the door slammed shut behind me. "What the hell is this?" I demanded, but they didn't answer. Instead, they shoved me into a chair and tied my hands. Panic set in as I realized this wasn't the party I thought it was. The room was dark, with only a single dim light bulb swinging above me. The laughter I had heard earlier wasn't playful, it was menacing. One of them, wearing a mask with a wide grin, held up a camera and began filming. "This is just the beginning," someone whispered from behind me. "You're part of the initiation now." Initiation? My stomach churned as they laid out a series of challenges, disturbing, violent things they wanted me to do. They were laughing, enjoying my fear. It was like some twisted game for them, and I was their puppet. I had to think fast. I knew if I played along, I wouldn't make it out alive. So I did the only thing I could think of. I told them I was part of a rival gang. I don't know why they believed me, but for a moment, they seemed to hesitate. Maybe it was the way I spoke or the fear in my voice that made it sound convincing. While they argued amongst themselves, I saw an opening. My hands weren't tied as tightly as I thought. Slowly, I loosened the ropes, trying not to draw attention. As soon as one of them turned their back, I bolted for the door. My heart raced as I sprinted down the street, not daring to look back. I didn't stop running until I was far away from that house. My mind was spinning. What just happened? Was this some kind of Halloween prank gone wrong? Or was I really about to become a victim of something much darker? I went straight to the police and told them everything. They didn't seem surprised. Apparently, there had been reports of similar incidents in the area. Thanks to the footage I described and the details I gave, they managed to track down the group. Several arrests were made, and their sick initiations came to an end. I haven't gone to another Halloween party since. What was supposed to be a fun night turned into the most terrifying experience of my life. I learned the hard way that not every invitation is worth accepting, especially when it's wrapped in mystery. My name is Megan, and I'm 14 years old. I live in a small town in Illinois, where Halloween is always a big event. This year, I was in charge of taking my little brother Timmy out trick-or-treating. He's 8, full of energy, and couldn't wait to hit every house in the neighborhood. Our plan was simple: cover as many houses as possible, and then head home before it got too late. It started out as a fun night. Timmy was running from house to house, his little bag filling up with candy quickly. I was keeping a close eye on him, but with all the kids running around in costumes, it was easy to lose track. After a while, I noticed Timmy had gotten ahead of me. I called out for him, but he didn't answer. Panic started creeping in. I pushed through the crowd, frantically searching for his ghost costume. My heart raced as I scanned the street, calling his name. Nothing. I could feel the fear building inside me, my mind going to the worst possible scenarios. Then I saw him. standing by a van parked near the curb. Relief hit me, but that feeling didn't last long. Timmy was talking to a man in a Halloween costume, and something about the scene didn't feel right. The man was smiling, crouched down to Timmy's level, holding out a piece of candy. His costume wasn't scary, but there was something off. He looked too eager, too friendly. I hurried over, my heart pounding in my chest. "Timmy, what are you doing?" I said, grabbing his arm. Timmy looked up at me, confused. "He said he has more candy in the van." My stomach dropped. I yanked Timmy back, stepping between him and the man. "We don't take candy from strangers," I said, my voice shaking. The man's friendly smile twisted into something darker. His hand reached out, quick as a flash, and tried to grab Timmy. I screamed louder than I ever had in my life. The sound seemed to echo through the street, and a few people turned to look. The man froze, realizing he had been noticed. He stood up slowly, his eyes cold as they locked with mine. Without saying a word, he turned and hurried into the van. Within seconds, the engine roared to life, and the van sped off down the street, disappearing into the night. I held Timmy close, my hands trembling. He was safe, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something terrible had almost happened. We hurried home, our trick-or-treating night cut short. I told my parents everything, and they called the police. A few days later, we found out that other kids in the neighborhood had reported similar encounters with the same man in the van. It sent a chill down my spine to think how close Timmy had come to being taken. The town increased its Halloween patrols after that, but the memory of that night still haunts me. I'll never forget the way the man's smile changed, the way his hand moved toward my brother. Halloween used to be my favorite holiday, but now, all I see is danger lurking behind every mask. My name is Ryan, and I'm 14 years old. I live in a small town called Millfield, where Halloween is a big deal every year. My friends and I were really excited to go trick-or-treating this time. We'd been planning for weeks. I was dressed as a zombie, just like the rest of the group. We were hoping to hit every house in our neighborhood and get bags full of candy. It started out fun, just like any other Halloween night. We went from house to house collecting candy and laughing. But as we moved down the street, something caught my eye. At the end of the block, there was this figure in a dark costume, just standing there watching us. I figured it was someone just trying to scare people. It was Halloween after all. But something about it didn't feel right. We kept going, but the feeling in my stomach wouldn't go away. I kept glancing back, and every time I did, the figure was still there, staying just far enough away to blend into the shadows. My friends thought it was funny at first. We joked about it being a creepy part of Halloween, but deep down, I couldn't shake the uneasiness. As the night went on, the figure kept following us. Not close enough to be in our faces, but always there, just watching. My friend Jake suggested we go check it out to see if it was just someone from school messing with us. I didn't like the idea, but I didn't want to seem scared either, so I agreed. When we started walking toward the figure, it suddenly moved, fast. It darted down a dark alley. Now, any sane person would have just gone home at that point. But we were curious. I guess we thought it was all part of the Halloween thrill, so we followed. As soon as we turned the corner into the alley, we froze. It wasn't just one figure anymore. There were 4 older teenagers waiting for us. They looked rough, their faces half covered with masks, and they weren't in it for the Halloween fun. One of them stepped forward, telling us to hand over our candy or else. My heart pounded, and my friends stood there, too scared to move. I knew we couldn't outrun them. So, I did the only thing I could think of. I pulled out my phone and hit the emergency button. I didn't even have to say anything before we heard the sound of sirens in the distance. The older kids panicked and bolted down the alley before the cops could arrive. My friends and I were left standing there, our legs shaking, but thankful that nothing worse happened. That Halloween, We learned the hard way that some people take advantage of the night. It wasn't all fun and games. Sometimes, the real danger is hiding in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to strike. We made it home safely that night, but the memory of those figures following us is something I'll never forget.